Just gotta lean into it. Hey, everybody that has requested this review, 86 season 2 or part 2. I think it's technically 2 cores, but depending on which service you watched it on, maybe it was season 2 or part 2. But first off, I want to say thank you to everyone that watched the first video, that subscribed. You're helping the channel out quite a bit, and I appreciate that. I brought a special guest. If you've searched around the rest of the channel, you may have seen my wife Christine on other review episodes, and our old daily show, which we hope to bring back at some point during the summer. And hi Christine, how's it going?
It's going great.
Good. I'm already starting to get a little nervous, but I think this conversation should go a little bit, I guess, easier, maybe
less intense, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll see. Anyways, guys, welcome to AnimeVersal Reviews here on the GenreVerse Podcast Network, on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from. Powered by LRMonline.com. Go there every day for all of your entertainment news, needs, and opinions. Sponsored by the good folks over at Grow Generation. They sponsor the website and the channel in general. But hey, if you have a business and you want to sponsor us, Kyle M at LRMonline.com. 86 is a pretty special anime. I did a no spoiler review of season 1, part 1, earlier, a couple of weeks ago now, and it was an experience. I highly suggest you check it out if you haven't. I was both prepared and unprepared for season 2. They cover a lot of other aspects of being a soldier, deploying, even coming home, which is, one of those things. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things in this that I can't discuss without spoilers. So unlike my part 1 review, my part 1 review, our part 2 will have some spoilers. So, Christine, you were the one to tell me first about the, you made the connection. I had already had things like, Private Ryan in my mind, but you had said in part 1 while we were watching it, Band of Brothers, and absolutely really reminds you of that. You're the daughter of a 2-time combat vet, the wife of a 3-time take that, Jerry. No, I'm joking. What was it like watching this show and having kind of lived both the army brat life, seeing your dad come home, and even me, and just kind of like your feel on how this show kind of portrays some of that stuff?
For me, this show was so amazing. It's for me, my favorite series is Band of Brothers. It's never changed ever since I watched it, and it's that human connection that I loved so much. And you get this in 86. It's kind of like that. It hits harder for me than maybe a civilian would, because I am, connected to you guys. I don't know what y'all experienced, like you and my dad and my brother, and
he's a helicopter pilot now, was a mechanic.
Yep. And it's kind of like seeing what they go through, the bonds that they make, and it's kind of like, it's hard to ask the question of the service member in your life, hey, what'd you go through? Because it's hard to ask. There's going to be things that they don't want to talk about. So it's kind of like, you can tell me and I'll listen, but it kind of just puts you in that, this is kind of what you went through. I know every war is different, but it's, you feel like you're a part of it. and unlike other shows where it's like it's painfully obvious that you're the audience member, but with this, it's like you've connected with these characters, and also getting an understanding of the people around you that have served in the military and have gone into combat. So for me, that's what I loved about it. Yeah.
This part really digs into a few key points that I wanted to bring up to you guys, and one of those is why we serve, why we continue to fight even in wars that aren't the greatest. Iraq, wars that have gone on too long, Afghanistan, and of course past conflicts, as well as kind of that idea of wanting to go back, wanting to serve. I did 3, which I'd always wanted. I always told you, I was like, I should do 3. I knew guys that had done more, and by guys I mean just soldiers, male and female. Because being an engineer, we had plenty of females before all of the jobs opened up a couple of years ago. But I knew people that had done more. Our dog and cat are playing, so sorry. But I also felt my last one wasn't long enough. I only did 2 1-year tours and one 9-month tour, and
it was cut short.
Just I got to come home on advance party, but and then the other thing is the idea of whether or not you have something to go back to, something to survive for, because for a lot of people it can feel easier sometimes if you just do your job your best and hope luck runs out, than say survive it and have to deal with it when you come home, maybe even when you come home again, people that have gone multiple times. So
it's kind of like those who serve kind of have that itch to go back, because it is difficult, but I guess in some ways it feels more simple, because having to readjust to a normal life.
Stop. I hear you.
Having to do that, be around your spouse and your kids, your parents, you've got friends and family who, you just kind of, you're out of battle mode, and how do you reconnect, and what kind of family you have too, because that's always something that I've seen where it's like, where people are fascinated and they ask questions, and it's like, don't ask that. Please don't.
Yeah.
So having to deal with stuff like that, it's like you want to go back.
Did you actually kill any?
Yes.
Always with people that glorify war. Coming home and coming home is always weird. Like you said, being out of battle mode, you're hypersensitive for a while. No matter how many times you do it, it takes you just spent anywhere from, depending on your job, 6 to 12, and at the height of both conflicts, 15 months over there. You've got new habits, and those can be hard to break, from waking up early to freaking out for the first few weeks that you don't have your weapon right next to you. I dealt with that all the time when I came back for a few weeks, but also even when we were in training in the field for like more than a week, I would get used to having my weapon with me again, which is a good thing that you're always worried about that. You don't want to leave it any place, have an unattended weapon. But the hardest part for me being home each time was watching the next cycle leave, or training up, but also seeing the likely date on my own calendar coming up, especially between the second and third. My second one was in 2010 and 11, and my third one was in 13. That's a pretty decent turnaround. That was really the hardest part, because especially when people were still going to Iraq because, God, it was just such a stupid war. And then Afghanistan, it was just like, well, what's the goal now? What's the goal? What happened in Afghanistan was exactly what would have happened had we left, 5 years ago or 5 years from now. The exact same result. The Taliban would have overrun the ANA, Afghan National Army. You'd still have some pockets of resistance, and it's just the nature of that country. Its history. Look at the times the Brits were in there, the times the Russians were in there. That's just it. So that's always hard to watch your other brothers and sisters going back, even though a lot of us often wanted to go back, so that way hopefully someone else wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of brings me to the second point that I really wanted to talk about, which is why we serve. One of the things in the show when the I want to call them kids, they are when the soldiers are saved by the Confederacy, everyone keeps asking them, why do you want to go back,
and wanting to talk to them like they're kids,
and wanting to talk to them like they're kids, and there's a thread that goes through that of where they're like, we're the best ones for it. Unfortunately, our trauma and surviving that makes us the best equipped to go, and that's a real thing. I mean, you look at SF guy, Special Forces members, that I'll tell you, they're usually the downrange. They are out loud, over the top, great guys. I did work mostly electrical, some other engineering, carpentry stuff for a Jace SOC base during my second deployment. And then, of course, I had friends that had served in Special Forces support, like group support roles. Marquez was one of those, and then you have interactions with them on missions or doing jobs. Like I said, being an engineer, I got to see everyone. Shin and crew are just, unfortunately, not just skilled enough, but, well, most of them were healthy mentally enough. Shin ends up cracking.
Yeah.
But that they could do it again, and they felt that they needed to, and it goes into that aspect of you don't even necessarily do it for your country anymore. At the end of the day, going out every time you do, whether it's outside the wire or just leaving the safety of your relative safety of your housing, because incoming mortars and rockets, oh my God, they used to hit calf all that. I hated going to the button. It's like, if it takes me, it takes me. It gets frustrating. Most of the time, those never harmed anyone. They were trying to take equipment out on the airline, but there's a psychological aspect to it. Here's these flying rounds of death several times a week, it seemed. But they end up basically fighting mostly for each other and their new unit. I can't remember the name of the Nordlic squadron.
Yeah, that's right.
They end up, forming bonds with the non-86, the Confederacy members of their new squadron. They make new connections, and that enables them to say, we can do this fight. We're the best for it. And now we've got these comrades that are willing to fight with us, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And a good thing to touch on. Yeah. And while everyone treated them like children, one of the things that I always try to tell civilians when people want to thank me or say something, I just always try to, besides saying thank you, it's very weird because we're just doing our job. It just so happens that every now and then, instead of training to go fight and win America's wars, we actually have to go fight America's wars. And but most of us, it's just a job. It's an important job. It's one we hope others don't have to do. It's one that, I mean, if I had been able to provide the same lifestyle for you, me, and Lucas when he was born, that's our son, obviously, I would have gotten out in a heartbeat if I could have provided the same life. But I would not give these experiences up in a way. There's things I wish I hadn't seen, things I wish I hadn't done, things I wish I hadn't experienced.
There's things I wish you hadn't done either.
But overall, I'm who I am because of all of that. You and I wouldn't have been together if I didn't go to Iraq.
It's true. Yeah, we knew each other growing up, and when he was over there, he apologized for being an ass.
I used to be a big. She's 3 years younger. Was my sister's friend. I never had any like, oh, I'm picking on you because like I said, she was three years younger.
He really just didn't like me.
I could not stand her. Oh my God.
Well, I'd also stand up for myself, and the other
Eventually
friends wouldn't.
Did.
Yeah. But yeah, like
piss me off more.
Yeah. So when he was over there, he apologized. We became friends, started talking online. My mom noticed at first, like, there's more there. So in a way, very grateful, but then also hearing a little bit of some of the things that you would do, volunteer for a lot of dangerous stuff. I'm like, I'm going to let you do you, but I'm a little uncomfortable. Just be careful, so it's like, I'm not going to be like, don't ever do that again. It's just like, because it's the life that I was used to as well. I didn't know what my dad did. He was very secretive, like a lot of people who serve. But you'd let me know a few things. And, when you were saying like, yeah, I'm going to volunteer to be the gunner because you are a good shot, but it's still like a vulnerable position. So I'm like,
yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah. Go fix some craters and, be a little exposed, I guess. I'm going to ignore that. Being in the vehicle. You're going to be okay.
Being in the vehicle, whether you're in the turret or inside, is definitely safer than being on the ground, cutting road and filling concrete. So, yeah. But I had to do that sometimes as well. And we did our safe on the base. I say that because those flying death things took out one of the friends I mentioned that died in my first review. He was on his way to lunch. Anyways, I lost my thought. Oh, doing jobs safely on base.
Yeah. You can see, like, with the 86, they do a lot of risky things, and it's just what they're used to. They feel like they're capable. You felt like you were capable.
That's mostly why I and even like future deployments, I had experience. I'm good at tactical stuff. We had a lot of engineers that just either never went or had that invulnerability mentality, and I felt like it's my job to try. I didn't always end up going. I had other skills that were needed sometimes elsewhere. But I always wanted to be the one up front, and especially if any of my own soldiers, my men and women, are getting tagged to go be part of a quick response force, or hey, you're the only one with a license on this piece of equipment, so you have to go. It's like, if any of my people are there, I want to be there. And I can't. They split the 86 up for a bit, you know, and that must have been tough. We don't see a lot of that. They discuss about it a bit, but that would have been tough, you know.
Yeah, especially since, like, with this group, they've been together for so long. They didn't get any backup. There's no reinforcements.
Nothing.
It's all them all the time, and having to live together and, you know, work together, risk their lives together, and even, like, know that their lives are going to end. Like, they're thinking that that's what's going to happen. We're all thinking that's going to happen as the audience, or, you know, as a possibility. Because it's like, if you're just watching the anime, it's like, I don't know how many seasons, and I don't know, like, how cruel you're going to be to the audience when showing this. So for them, they're like, we're expecting death any day.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, seeing that, it's got to be really hard for them to split up. And I remember watching, and I even felt empty. And it's like, I'd never experienced that, having to go home or having to, you know, go back in, but then I'm not around my battle buddies. Like, because I didn't serve, but for me, it's like, even I feel hollow, and like, we kept having to take breaks because we're both, like, struggling to
just
watch.
Emotionally drained.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a hard watch with this show, but it's a really good watch.
Yeah, definitely. We need to pay the bills, so a quick word from ours. Whoops, I accidentally put in our intro. Sorry. Quick word from our sponsors. We'll be back, and we'll talk a lot about Shin and the ending and Grow Generation.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. For all of your cultivation needs, Grow Generation has the right products, service and staff to make your grow successful. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
And thank you guys for sponsoring the show. Appreciate it. The end of this season, or part of 86, really focuses a lot on Shin's burden that he's collected over season 1, over the fact that he had to kill so many comrades, lose comrades that even if he didn't have to, you know, kill them himself. Survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
He feels even left alone. There's that whole traumatic stuff in the last second to last episode, and in the final episode a bit. He has to deal with that idea of, if I'm good enough to survive this, I have to deal with everything I've done.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's a great short break to get when they first get saved by the Confederacy, but guys, that's a lot to carry. I'm not going to go into specifics for anyone that I know, or even myself, but I'll say I know some people that had to do some killing. Some of us more than others, some of us never.
Mm-hmm.
But those that had to do it, especially in those weird situations where, anyways, it can be hard for people to carry that on, and you add on that with the fact that you are facing death every day. That break becomes really easy, to where you just say, fuck it, kill me, I don't care, I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability. I really don't give a shit if I come back. That happens to us. That happens to service members, all the branches. And he's dealing with that in there, and they show it so well, so beautifully.
Mm-hmm. Like he's surrounded by people, but yet still alone.
Yeah,
you know.
I love his verbal lashing from Raiden.
Mm-hmm.
Throws him up against that fence. He's like, "You just don't care. You don't want to come back." And no, he didn't. Every inch of his being wanted to be gone, but that sense of duty to his soldiers, his sense of duty for what he signed up to do, his pride, those types of things, and you saw him keep trying to protect the others, not just from his death, but because he knew that he could do well enough with or without them, so he's constantly trying to ditch them.
Yeah.
And in the end, he couldn't do it by himself. You had artillery barrages coming in. You had Raiden showing up, and after defeating the Morpho, he's once again feels left alone. He's thinking Raiden's gone, wondering if Frederica's gone. He's got a lot. He's injured. He can't fight back. If a legion comes, it can take him, and lo and behold, there's a legion coming, and now you can't even off yourself.
Yeah.
And speaking of offing yourself, oh my God, when Frederica put that gun to her head, it's a tough show. I don't like I have my aspects of having people not come home that I know, but I don't know how to feel about it. I've had to do a lot, and Shin even has to do some of this in this series, a lot of telling myself that it's okay to be messed up, because I constantly look at people I know that went through way worse, while I had it relatively easy. And I know to some of you out there, you're like, well, hell, if you could have died on the base, even that's not easy. And that's why I try to use the line qualifier, relatively easy. But I guess I do. I don't like what's the word? I don't feel like I did enough sometimes, to warrant some of my issues.
I've heard you say that a lot.
And even the 86 themselves, they try to pawn a lot of their own trauma off,
Mm-hmm.
and accepting it is a very, very, very hard thing to do. And I wrote this down because it's actually a great quote from Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, at awful season, but when she's saving Dawn at the end of season 5, the hardest thing to do in this world is live in it.
Yeah.
And for soldiers that carry experiences, that is hard. And yeah, I'm kind of rambling here. You have anything to say on that at all?
No, I guess I don't know if you wanted to talk about like people's retirement situations, like because they can't go on anymore and how hard that is. Like,
I mean, yeah, when that's more like wounded soldiers and stuff that can't go back. Even like Christine said, retiring maybe even from you've just done your time.
Yeah.
That can be similar in a lot of ways, and even more frustrating because the choice was taken away from you.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to talk about Shin finding his reason to come home when Lena shows up, and how he was ashamed.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't. I don't know. I'm guessing most of you guys caught it, but for those that might not, for those that may have lost some of the context of why he didn't just scream out, "It's me, Shin," from the get-go. He was embarrassed of what he had done, what he had become, the stuff against the Morpho, Keeley, I think his name was, Frederica's the guy that's in the Morpho, her knight. I think it was Keeley or something like that.
Kine. I don't know. Whatever his name is.
Yeah, her knight is what she called him. Shin was just going off the rails, and there he was having to look at surviving it once again. And in his mind, he was going to be alone. The initial meeting with Lena is great, but she had good things to say. He had good sense to listen, but it's that whole everything after, that whole idea of him realizing that he was still valuable. Even despite everything he had done, he was still valuable, and that this is one of the biggest things that I had a hard time with getting out of the military. Shin put a lot of effort into what he did, and he inspired Lena. Mm-hmm. He changed. He and the other members of Spearhead changed Lena. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it comes off as pretentious or what, but that's a really great feeling. And I don't mean it in a way of like superiors over subordinates. Like, I miss having soldiers to mentor. I miss that. But it's the fact that you're needed, that you're valuable, that you
made an impact,
and you helped someone.
Yeah.
Like, it might not sound like that big of a deal, but every time one of my soldiers got promoted past E4, especially because those are all automatic if you don't screw up, it was very, very, I helped do that. And I don't mean it, like I said, I don't know how to make it not sound like a wow, look at me thing. And it's probably just in my own mind that it sounds like that whenever I say it. But, having value despite any flaws, and no one sees your flaws more obscurely than yourself. All of us blow them up out of proportion, and I mean all humans. So when, man, her coming up, the animation, the blue Legion butterflies revealing the red funeral flowers. I think that's like a colloquial name for them. I can't remember what their actual name is, but they're very often there in signs of death, and you know what, you could even look at it as a death of sorts, where the old Shin is agreeing to die there on the battlefield. Now, of course, there's things that are going to continue. We haven't read any of the light novel or any other adaptations. You can go into more combat after this and having that old self die and be able to go on your next tour better if you get the help and you get the right mindset.
He's created the want to change. I'm sure there's still going to be some struggle with having to actually change and everything be okay, but at least he's got the first step.
Exactly.
So,
I love them together, and as they're working her and the survivors of San Magnolia into the Confederacy, and they agree to put her in charge of the new team that Shin and company are gonna be a part of. I love her dedication to them all the way through to where she meets them for the first time. All the little mementos, everything that they keep, all of that stuff is just, it's great. And I love this. I love the soldiers snickering when she's reporting, when Shin is reporting to her.
mm-hmm.
I love them snickering, because here's this giant emotional thing, and all of us, no matter how healthy your coping mechanisms, your resiliency is, most service members still use humor to defuse and kind of tamp down the emotional stuff, because it can be overwhelming, and you saw that it very much was. When she wrote, man, I teared up for the first time, like, during the show. That actually really made me tear up, because it's just such a great peak. And yeah, sure, they're gonna go out and do more stuff, but if the series ended right there, you're like, they're gonna be okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They might not survive it, but they're gonna be okay all the way up until the end. It was just a really fitting conclusion for her. I'm guessing this is technically, and in Japan, this is all season 1. This is part 2 or core 2, but if it is technically season 2, whatever, it ended well, and it was very, 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 very. It was just good, guys. It really was. And several people got on to me saying that the music was just good last season. One thing I did want to mention about the art and music in this, one, the art, there's times where it got way better, especially that final scene after defeating the Morpho when Lena shows up. But also, sound design in the show is amazing. The use of silence and just letting the bugs or nothing in the background play over some of these super, because we don't have any background music in Trauma in real life, you know.
Yeah.
I love that. I still have not found a piece other than that the first ending song. You could go answer that if you will. We just got a doorbell ring. But I haven't found a piece that is like being added to my playlist. I haven't found a Final Fantasy type song where, you know, it's so good, but they are better than what I heard, especially through part 2, because I was able to kind of accept more of part 2. Part 1, like I said, there's so much here that's more of after experiences, resiliency, and being home, going back, while the whole first part is just the freaking trauma of the war itself. If part 1 shows how we serve, part 2 shows why we serve, and how we continue to do it in a it shows you both the unhealthy and healthy way. So I changed my score. I'm grading this whole thing as it's one season, and I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. The art still, for the most part, character designs are great. I still love the eyes. Most of the other art is still relatively par for course, but they kicked it up in season 2 for certain shots and certain scenes that did take it above and beyond. and because of the whole sound design, the whole soundtrack, I'll absolutely, this is a perfect anime.
Mm-hmm.
This is 23 episodes of perfection.
Yeah, I'd give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, guys, I hope this wasn't boring or anything. I hope this met what you wanted to hear from this review. It went longer than I actually expected it to. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for
You're welcome.
being my wife and putting up with it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without you.
I honestly couldn't live life without you either.
Sucker. See, there goes that humor thing for emotional moments. No, and thank you, everyone that has. I didn't. Whoever shared it on Reddit, thank you. I didn't know what to do. I just felt like I needed to speak. I had taken in so much from that first part that I needed an outlet somehow, and I didn't expect so many people to see it. So thank you. I hope you stick around and check out some of the other. Gosh dang it! I got a little remote, and the touchpad is super sensitive, and I keep my cursor on the controls, and anyways, when I go to move it, I screwed up.
It's okay.
Check out some of the other shows. AnimeVersal Reviews does seasonal reviews. Right now we're doing Spy Family. Christine does usually help out with that. She's had some health issues the last few months, but doing better, thankfully.
Yes.
So yeah, hit the red subscribe button. We do Star Wars news and reviews on the Cantina. Our Obi-Wan Kenobi review is up. Marvel Multiverse Mayhem. We do Marvel news, and we will be reviewing Miss Marvel when it hits. I do Genre Shot trailer reactions on YouTube as well. All of our podcasts, including Breaking Geek Radio, which is this big long form weekly show, all go up on your favorite podcast app. So Google's, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. And of course, the website, lrmonline.com. Everything goes up there. Podcasts, celebrity interviews, reviews, leaks and rumors, opinions on news, toys, comics, games, everything. We like to stay busy. So yeah, check us out. If you want to be dangerous and follow me on Twitter, I'm at that Kyle Malone on Twitter. You want to throw yours out there?
You can find me at Adorable Doom on Twitter.
Which was a nickname for our puppy once.
And I stole it
She
because
did.
She's a coward. She doesn't deserve a villain.
She does not. She's a good girl, though.
Yes.
She's not in here. Anyways,
No.
guys, thank you for joining, and we'll talk to you next time.